Hi, friends on Instagram. I'm so excited to come live and share and chat with all of my friends here. My good friend Calie is going to come do this with me. I never do these Instagram lives, and thought it would be a really fun way just to kind of share. Hi, everybody. Hey, just to share some just thoughts that we were having around going live for the holidays, and or surviving the holidays, thriving through the holidays, navigating the holidays. So I'll give Calie a second to hop on and make sure I am doing this correctly. But welcome everyone. Where are you spending your Thanksgiving and Christmas? If you're watching and you are able to put in the comments, like, where are you going for Thanksgiving or Christmas? Are you someone who stays home? Do you have a family that like everyone always goes to, like your mom's house or your sister's house? Are you one of those lucky people who escape somewhere super warm for Christmas? What do you do? I would love to know. And I'm gonna make sure all my things are muted because the last thing everyone wants is my phone and my iPad and my computer all blowing up while we're doing this. Hi. I'm gonna say hi to everybody. There's Calie. Okay. I am gonna add you in here, my friend. All right, it says you're here. It says you're here. Yay!
Hi.
I was like, I think I know what to do. I've watched enough of these, but I don't know that I've ever actually done one myself. So we're both here. That means success has been happened.
We made it. We made
it. Yeah. I was just kind of starting out just saying like, I typed the title first, like surviving the holidays. I'm like, no, we're not just going to survive the holidays. Like, how do we thrive through the holidays? I know that it's something like for me, I don't know about you, Calie, but I love the idea of Christmas and I build it up really big in my head. I love picking out the perfect gifts for people. I love like the memories of the really great holidays, Thanksgivings and Christmases that I've shared with my family. But in reality, especially in recent years, like by the time it actually happens, it's not like this picture perfect thing in my brain.
it. Yeah.
It's a lot of stress and anxiety. It's a lot of not family together time, or even when it has been, it's been tumultuous. But really, for me, it's like the amount of anxiety, maybe not seasonal depression, but just like it kind of can be low at times too, or
Yeah.
just hard, right? And I know a lot of people have that, maybe not the actual Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, but a lot of the time surrounding holidays can be kind of roller coasterish. Have you experienced that too?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. 100%. So I feel like, well, first of all, for me, is like basically a single mom, but I'm divorced. And so the holidays, the last 7 years, 8 years since that, it had to take on a new meaning for me. And so I've always been someone who loves the holidays. I love all that family time. But that came with a lot of family drama. And so the holidays, again, like you said, could be really stressful. Traveling, whose house are we going to? Whose turn is it to have who this year? And then after the divorce, it was like learning to have holidays without my kids, where they were with their dad that year. And we had to make our holidays on like an off day and getting used to that and adjusting to, all the changes that come with that. And worrying about my kids being in another state at the holidays, all that stuff. Mom guilt can come with it, whatever. Like you said, it can be super, super stressful, worrying about finances. Maybe if money's already tight, which it is for a lot of people right now, and then all of a sudden you feel this pressure to give gifts to all these people. And what do we want to do in those situations? We seek comfort. So a lot of times there's more alcohol around, there's more treats and sugar and comfort food around. And it's very easy to turn to those for that momentary endorphin boost that we get from them. And then there's guilt that comes with that. And so it can really become this kind of cyclone that just spirals out of control, and you're almost like, okay, I need the holiday season to be over so I can reset and start fresh. But I feel like if we can give ourselves grace, and if we can learn a few simple little hacks that can help us in those moments, make choices that help us actually feel better, and like you said, thrive through the holiday season instead of just feeling like we're surviving it or we're getting by. And it can make such a huge difference. So it has for me.
Yeah. I feel like my hope for myself, for all of us, like and kind of what I want to share here is like, I don't want a holiday hangover,
Yeah.
like not like a literal hangover, but like you come to that, like by the time New Year's Eve comes around, I'm like, I don't want to celebrate anything. Just make it all be over. Or like, you finally get home after traveling and it's like, wait, I have to go back to work. I really need, like, my introverted self like needs to go and hide at home alone and just like watch all the Hallmark movie reruns or something. Like, I don't want this huge, like, I feel like anytime a pendulum swings really hard, and especially in our health and wellness, and like I've seen this for myself and for clients for years and years, it's like we go so hard one way and then we like bully and punish ourselves into the other direction.
Yeah.
And for me, well, and I'm also divorced, and the holidays have not been lonely because it's not like woe is me, but it's like just been different, right? And after I move across my life across country to Vermont from Oregon, like where my family is, it's kind of like, well, how do I find peace in this season without a lot of that pressure, that guilt, that stress, that sadness, And so I know when you were sharing the other day, you were talking about holiday tips, and I was like, God, like I was reminded of like, I'm so proud of this routine and these habits that are just really becoming this foundational, simple thing, rather than having to like, for me for so long it was like I gotta get ahead of this and like work out hard now, or I've gotta like
Yeah.
make sure I'm working off any calories I consume, and my stress level and my cortisol, especially now I'm 44, like now in my mid 40s. I don't want to say mid 40s. Can I still say early
Yeah.
40s?
Yes, you
Like,
can.
no, still in my early 40s, that like I would like just like I need that my nervous system and my hormone system, like my endocrine system, like I need that peace. I need to like work on homeostasis as much as possible. So I thought it would be fun to kind of touch on like what does like nutritional ease look like? What does mobility, active fitness ease look like? And then like what does like mental like
Yeah.
ease look like in terms of like holiday season? Where do you want to start with that?
I love this topic. And I want to start with the mental ease, if you're cool with that. And you guys, like, ask questions or share comments below as well, because we can see those, and we want this to be engaging with all of you as well. Because, Jamie and I can have this conversation personally on the phone, but we wanted to have it with all of you guys. So feel free to participate.
Exactly.
But I want to start with mental ease because in all of my hormone certification courses, everything that I've learned, and especially on my personal journey, even when I was doing all the nutrition things right, even when I adjusted my fitness and got all the fitness right, it didn't come together until I started to work on my nervous system and I started to work on my mental health. And so I think especially at the holidays, when even the stress of even good stress is still stress on our body. So even if it's just extreme busyness, that is a stressor on our body. Even if it's more sugar and more alcohol, that is a stressor on our body. Travel is a stressor on your body. Lack of sleep is a stressor on your body. So a couple of tips that I find help me at the holiday season. Number one, don't be afraid to mute or unfollow someone for the holiday season. And I think this can be a really important tip because comparison can be such a thief of joy at the holiday season. And you might not be in the same place as some of the people that you're following, even if you love them, if you respect them. It's not anything personal against them, but if I'm watching a Pinterest perfect family have the picket fence holiday on Christmas morning, And, you know, it's triggering me about my kids not being here or about not being in the family environment I want to be, or like I'm in a rental and I've been in a rental for 8 years. And so I don't decorate the way that I did when I owned my own house. So if I'm watching somebody every day and I find myself feeling sad or lacking, I should stop watching that person right now. I should mute them as I go through the holiday season, because I don't want to, you know, have that feeling like pushed at me every single day. And so obviously it's something I need to work on, but I want to remove that trigger. And so I think that could be really important, just like muting people that are triggering you. And I would tell everybody, like, with our hormonal cycles, you know, we cycle in 4-week intervals, and the beginning of your cycle, whether you have a period or not, you have a different energy. It's more outgoing, it's more confident, it's more vibrant. And then towards the end of your cycle, as you get closer to your period or just towards that starting over of the new phase, we kind of go internal. Well, we can't guarantee that that's going to line up with holiday parties and family events and travel and all of that. So if try to schedule things, you know, when you're in that like really outgoing place. But if you're not, like you said earlier, Jamie, if you're in that place where like you're about to get your period, you're on your period, and you're feeling like really you don't want to be around a lot of people, or it's just exhausting to you, what boundaries can you put up for yourself? Can you say, I'm going to go, but I'm only going to stay for an hour? Can you say no to being, you know, the mom that brings the holiday cupcakes that week because you know you just don't have the extra energy? And maybe for the, you know,
or give
spring break party,
give yourself a break, that like maybe you don't need to be the one that makes it, but there's like a really good bakery that you can get it from, right? Like it doesn't have to be the Betty Crocker picture perfect. That's dating myself, but you know what I'm saying. Keep going.
Exactly. So like just be aware of what your energy feels like regardless of where you are in your cycle, and give yourself a break, like Jamie said. Like you don't have to do all the things, and no one's going to remember if you baked the cupcakes or if you bought the cupcakes. And then I think nervous system, like, can you implement little things like deep breathing? And this is one of my favorite things. Like you're walking into that party and you're feeling stressed. You wake up in the morning and you're like, your to-do list is a mile long. You're thinking, how am I going to get through it? Can you just start with deep breath? And 1 minute, it doesn't have to be complicated. I like 4-7-8 breathing, where you inhale for a count of 4 through your nose, feel your belly expand. You hold that so your lungs are full of oxygen. You hold that for about 7 seconds. And then you slowly exhale for a count of 8. Repeat about 4 or 5 rounds of that. You're going to shift your nervous system. And that's something we have to train our nervous systems to do. They get stuck in that fight or flight mode, and we can retrain them with our breath to come into rest and digest in that more calm, peaceful state. So you don't have to do a 30-minute meditation. You don't have to go to an hour-long yoga class to get that. Breathe for 1 minute, do 4 or 5 rounds of that. You can do it anywhere, anytime. No one will even know you're doing it. But I like to habit stack it into my day, either when I wake up, before I go to bed, or I'll do it for 1 minute before I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Really simple things like that can transform your experiences and your stress levels during the holidays.
Yep, I love that. I've also like I'm looking at how not all of us can schedule our day how we want. I know with kids, it's like they drive the ship sometimes, but like carving out that specific time, especially for myself early in the morning, or like first thing in the morning, doesn't have to be early, but like earlier in the day, I really am protective, and I like make sure if I'm scheduling an appointment, I'm asking for the later in the day appointment, because I know that morning time is my time to really get my head right, my mind right, and just like get myself really focused and energized for the day. Versus like if I have an appointment, like if like a doctor's appointment or anything at like 9 a.m., I'm like, I feel my stress is just already frantic and frenetic first thing in the morning. And so I've really become very mindful and conscientious about what time of the month I'm scheduling things. Like if I like going back to what you said about the cycle, like I often will be the one who plans like the cookie swap, or I'll plan the, Friendsgiving kind of, activity, but I will make sure I do it early on in my cycle, because I know that's later on. I have really built in, and we can do this with kids, we can do this for me with my dogs and my chickens, or just by yourself, but like getting outside for a little bit every morning. Like instead of just letting the dogs go out and do their thing in the morning, I like put on my beanie, grab my coat, and I just like walk around the yard with them. They think this is the best thing in the entire world because I'm giving them extra attention. But, or I'll just kind of go walk to the coop and just clean and tidy. But I spend time, and of course, even if you don't have a coop, like just getting outside in the morning, no matter the weather, has been really helpful. Just I can feel the difference in my whole day trajectory. I take my like AM supplements first thing on an empty stomach, and then if I'm inside, I find I'm really already wanting to get my coffee. I'm wanting to like put some food in my stomach. But if I like go and walk outside, I'm also giving myself a little bit of a break where I'm naturally wanting to pick up my phone and scroll, or I'm wanting to go get some things that are going to spike that cortisol even more and kind of dysregulate, get me more reactive than proactive. And here's the biggest thing. This is not going to be for everyone, but the biggest thing for me this month is, especially since I do live alone, or like even if you're just a busy family, I use the TV a lot. I know not everyone uses the TV a lot, but that was kind of like my company a lot at night. Even if I was multitasking or working, just having it on. I unplugged and turned my TV around this month and covered it with a blanket just to kind of see how I would feel. And I am feeling so good. So it was just that reminder to myself of like taking care of my own. I just have so much more time. I wasn't even sitting for hours watching TV, but I'm like, how am I having so much more time in my day to get things done? And then if there's like a show or two where I'm like, I really want to see, you know, like I've loved The Gilded Age. I'm really obsessed with that show. So I'll like watch it on my iPad as a special treat. So it's like special treats versus just this default thing that I do out of habit. And so I think anything that you find you're just defaulting you find yourself defaulting to on technology, that can be really dysregulating for our nervous system, for our mental health, whether it's comparison mode or just like numbing out and like letting the blue light, you know, the lights and the EMFs like mess with our heads, you know. And I think like anything,
my lights are off.
yeah.
I rarely turn the lights on in my house. I try to use just my windows. So when I wake up, I open all my blinds, I open up the windows to let fresh air in, and I try as much as I can to not constantly be exposing myself to artificial light, because that really does dysregulate our circadian rhythms and all of that. So like I'll turn a little light on so you guys can actually see me and I'm not sitting in the dark. But, you know, and then also, like you said, talked about unfollowing or muting people who are just, you know, it's triggering you for the holidays. But one of the best things I ever did was I put timers on my phone so that I don't look at my phone first thing in the morning like I used to and get that automatic cortisol trigger. So my phone, I don't pick it up and start looking at it till either 8 or 9 a.m. depending on the day. And at 6 or 7 p.m. depending on the day, it's done, it's off, and I'm not constantly engaging. Because as an entrepreneur, it's very tempting to work 24 hours a day. I mean, I used to wake up in the middle of the night. If I couldn't sleep, I'd get on my phone and start working. Well, that's not going to help me go back to sleep. But also, like you said about getting out in the morning, getting that fresh air, getting that early morning sunshine. One of the things that I used to do when my kids were in school is I would drive them to school, but I parked like 3 blocks from the school. And this was part of their routine as well. And then whatever the weather, we had umbrellas if it was raining, whatever, we would walk from the car to drop them off at school. And I did the same thing when I picked them up at the end of the day. So I automatically worked a 10-minute outside time, a 10-minute walk into my day for me and the kids. And that was good time for us to talk about like, what do you have going on at school today? And at the end of the day, like, how was your day? And I got that early morning sunshine, that fresh air, a little bit of movement, which helps stimulate your lymphatic system. It's great for opening up your drainage pathways and helping you detox, which is so important for your hormones. But it seems like the smallest thing. But if you're walking and you're getting early morning sunlight for 10 minutes every day, honestly, if you do that from now till New Year's, and you did change nothing else, I guarantee you would feel a positive impact of that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that tip. Like such a simple tip. And then you don't have to like waste half of your life in the pickup line.
Yeah, so. Exactly. It saved me so much. I started out of that. It started out of necessity for not wanting to wait in the line. And then it was such a great thing for me and the boys that we just started doing it every day. So that's another simple thing. And you talked earlier about like, you know, when you wake up in the morning, you want to have that coffee first thing. I love a warm drink in the morning. So I think another really good tip going through the holiday season is protecting your hormones in the morning, managing that cortisol. And so a lot of people automatically think that means you can't have coffee, you have to give up your coffee, but it really doesn't. So if you just start with food, coffee with breakfast. So I get up in the morning, I do my morning supplements with my hydration, electrolyte, glutathione drink. I do that on an empty stomach. I get that in my system. And then before I have coffee, I eat my breakfast. And so my coffee comes with my breakfast. So when you put that food in your stomach, then the coffee doesn't create such a cortisol spike. And other things that can help the coffee have less of a cortisol spike when you do have it, having food in your stomach. So don't have it on an empty stomach. Don't make it be the first thing you consume as soon as you get up, because that's a huge cortisol spike. It shocks your body into being awake. Add a little healthy fat to it, so a little coconut milk or a little coconut oil. Cinnamon will help with the blood sugar control for it. And it just makes it, actually, I really like putting a little coconut milk and a little cinnamon. It's very sort of festive holiday anyways. So no coffee on an empty stomach, and have coffee with your breakfast or after your breakfast. And that will totally change the way your body responds to the coffee, and it will protect your hormones, and it will actually help you not have so much anxiety first thing in the morning, because you won't be spiking your cortisol right when you get up.
Yep, I love that. And I've been playing with, this summer I started drinking matcha in the morning.
Yeah.
And I would do it over ice and water and with like a splash of oat milk. But now that it's gotten so cold, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like give up my iced matcha and try a hot matcha, and I am so in love. Like I just tried that this weekend for the first time, and I'm like, I really love that cozy warm thing in the morning. It's definitely like a ritual thing. It's not even a mental need for the coffee. And I think sometimes that's a good check too. Like, are you really needing the caffeine in the morning, or is it just the comfort and the ritual of having a nice warm beverage, especially something that feels like creamy, like a coffee can feel? Like, try matcha, or try like a tea, right? And some sort of a tea, and you can put a splash, like, English style tea with a little splash of oat milk or almond milk in there, can have that same like physiological, like mental trick.
Yeah.
You might trick yourself into thinking like you're having that, because our cortisol will naturally give us energy in the morning. And if we're making sure we're getting enough sleep, and that's another really critical piece of hormone health and hormone balancing, is that we're getting at least, well, ideally 8 hours. I know that's like, some people laugh at that idea, but like at least 7 hours of sleep every night. Quality sleep, not just like, I fell asleep in front of the television sleep, but like quality sleep. Then your body will naturally wake up if we're giving it that rest and digest time, right?
Yeah.
So I want to, let's transition into like physical health. But one of the things that for me is mental as well. And in the winter, I find myself being really intentional about this. Is I'll carve out some time, usually once or twice a week, where I'll go to my local yoga studio, but I'll find like an evening yin or restorative class or candlelight yoga, something that's going to be slower by design, that's going to really just be restorative by design. And for me, like, because I'm planning it out, I carve my week around it, or carve Sunday night around it. It's like that treat to myself. And it's just this, I call it dessert yoga, because I'm treating myself with this hour that's just bring your partner, like bring your, whoever, or it can just be for you. But for me, that also is that mental balance, or the physical balance too, of like, if I'm trying to work out hard during the winter, so in the holiday season, so that because it does help with our mental health. Yep. And it can help with, our caloric load, but really it can help with blood sugar. It helps with all the things, but sometimes we kind of go too hard with that, and we end up like super burned out or injured, or feeling like, oh, if I all or nothing mentality, like if I didn't get my 6 days that I was going to do or work out every day, then I ruined it. I'm just going to have to wait till January 1st or whatever. So balancing that with some gentler exercise is good for all the things too. But
yeah, I think for a little bit, more when it comes to exercise, especially if any of you guys, like, I'm 46, so I think I have to say mid 40s now, but I'm not going to say late 40s yet. Even though that's a gift to get there. That's, I'm working on that mindset.
Yeah.
But once you're over 35 and your hormones are slowly starting to transition into decreasing, you know, those really hard, intense workouts, 6 or 7 days a week that maybe were awesome in your 20s and your early 30s and made you feel good. Like, I like those workouts mentally a lot of times because they burn off stress and they give me that big endorphin rush. But what I found is that my body and my hormones no longer were on the same page as me as far as that habit of relying on those intense workouts. And so I've really had to shift to where I do try to do weight training 3 to 4 days a week, but I do that the first 3 weeks of my cycle. I keep it low impact, so I don't go crazy with it. I'm not jumping, I'm not throwing around super heavy weights. And then, you know, the last 10 days or so of my cycle, I really try to be more restorative, doing like Pilates and yoga. But just like you said, Jamie, even with those 3 or 4 workouts a week, I always try to work in 1 to 2 like dessert workouts. I love that phrase. I'm totally stealing that. But treats for my body that help me with just relaxation, with nervous system regulation. And I love working out at home. That's what I've been doing for almost 10 years. But when I do my treat yoga, I normally go to a studio. I like the energy of being around people. I like the music. I go to a hot yoga place where it's warm, it's infrared sauna, so it's very therapeutic and healing. I know not everyone can do that. There's lots of yin yoga videos on YouTube you can check out. But having that mix, every workout shouldn't be intense. I love taking a walk, lifting 3 or 4 times a week, and getting in 1 or 2 nice yoga classes. Like, that's my ideal. But you have to figure out what's your ideal. And I promise you, in most scenarios, it's less than what you've been led to believe you need. And so if you are someone who doesn't exercise right now, I would say a simple holiday hack that could help your hormones and your health so much. After those big holiday meals, after the cookie swap party, like, get all your friends and family together and go for a 10-minute walk. If you go for a 10-minute walk within an hour of having that big heavy meal, it will dramatically decrease your blood sugar spike. It'll flatten your glucose curve. And that really supports healthy weight. It supports healthy energy, so you don't have that big spike and then it's followed by a big crash. You want to keep it more balanced and more level so your energy stays balanced and level, and that prevents cravings. So it really can be it's such a simple thing. Hey guys, let's go for a walk. Let's go throw the football, whatever it is. Such a simple thing, and it can have a profound impact on how you feel going through the holiday season.
I think, yep. And I love that if you're actively not, if you don't have a workout routine, like, this is a perfect gateway drug, right? This is a perfect way to start. And I think that for, I want to touch on something you said, because we have been led to believe we have to outwork what we consume, right? We have to, our calories out have to power, kind of be bigger than our calories in. And so and that worked for a lot of us for a really long time, right? We outwork what we eat. And that was the generation I was trained in. That was what I was brought up believing. And so in my mind too, I like that kick. I loved, insanity was like, I loved insanity, and I had to, and I could do it. And I felt strong and empowered. And I know a lot of people have shared, feel that way too when they've done those intense workouts. But what I found after, a while was that I could still pull together that, that energy to bust, I could still even today go do an insanity workout. But what happens afterwards and how I feel the rest of the week is really where we should start tuning in. Because I think I still work with a lot of women who are like, well, this is too, like, let's try bar or Pilates or yoga. And they're like, I'm not burning enough calories. My watch is not telling me I'm burning enough calories here. And so they will double up or triple up, right? Yeah. Because they're like trying to get that calorie count. And it's not that it's bad to look at the calories, but I think that more we got to tune into how we're feeling. Yeah. And that's kind of the whole point about all of this, is that we're like, how do you feel? And if you can get one really hard workout, but then you're bottomed out and your adrenals are completely tapped for the rest of the week. And you can feel that, like, you don't have to know what adrenals do, but just know, like, you wake up and you're feeling sluggish throughout the day. Your brain is having, you've got brain fog. You're just like, you feel really sore. And you're like 5 days later going, why am I still sore?
Yeah.
You know, you're just not seeing that rebound that maybe we just naturally had in our younger years. That is a sign that maybe your body is saying, like, actually give me a chance to go a little gentle around me. Lower impact. You can still have the high intensity. I'm the same as you, Calie. I love early on in my cycle, I'll do a lot more weightlifting. I love cycling for cardio. Bar is a really great high intensity, low impact. I still burn so many calories. And then in the later half of my cycle, I let my body guide. You know, I'm still gonna like push it, but I really let go gentler on myself. And I have found that means I stop and start less. Right. And I think that a lot of people that are like, you just burn out, you bottom out. And that's our body is saying, I'm bottom, I don't have anything else to give. Or you get injured or you get sick. A lot of times people don't recognize that is also your body pushing back and saying, you're not listening to me, so I'm just going to take back control by with an injury or an illness, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have clients who will try to start a workout program and they'll come to me after 1 or 2 workouts and they're like, I'm so sorry I had to take 5 days off to recover. And what we're looking for in anything in our health and wellness, to me, it's about creating something that's sustainable as a lifestyle, something you look forward to doing every day, every week, like creating these routines that feel good. So you shouldn't need to recover from your wellness routine. That's like an oxymoron. It should be the exact opposite. So if that's the place where your workouts are taking you, you've chosen the wrong workout for this phase of your life. And that's okay. And again, so if you're following someone on social media and you're like, but that's what she's doing and it looks so fun and look at her results.
Yeah.
But
look at
she's got
her abs.
Yeah. She's got a different body and different, and you know, like we've all been on our journeys. It's taken me 3 years to totally make over my lifestyle to better serve my hormones. And I'm always tweaking and adjusting small little things, but figuring out what workouts really worked for me and adjusting my mindset around that to not feel bad that I wasn't doing these crazy intense workouts and to not look at the calorie burn. Like yesterday, my workout burned 70 calories, 30-minute workout, and I was lifting low impact. Calie 2 years ago would have immediately gone and done another workout. I would have been like, that's not enough. Like I obviously didn't get a good workout. But I remind myself now that I'm creating and maintaining muscle. And that means that I'm getting a sustained burn throughout the day because I have good muscle mass on my body. So I don't have to rely on that 30-minute workout to define my health or my calorie burn, or, you know, I'm creating maintenance, something that I can do long term.
Okay, so I want to talk nutrition and make sure we don't take up everyone's day. But I want to say one more thing about I'm gonna connect with something you just said with something we said at the beginning. So if your online influencer has the body that you want and is like rocking a routine that, you know, you're like, I want to do that because that's working for her, right? And it might not be what's right for you, then it's okay to mute that person. Unfollow or mute that person, because often that is where we get in a really unhealthy mental place where and I do it too, especially if my body looks different than it did 10 years ago, like, and I'm like, even just if you're mean girling yourself, comparing how you used to look, if you're comparing your old pictures to you now, like, that's a boundary to set, because that is going to completely stress us out and spike our cortisol and be completely counterproductive in a lot of ways too. So if you are curious about fitness, like Calie and I can both talk to you about helping you find that fit. We have lots and lots of years of experience with amazing fitness programs and options for you, whether it's online or in real life. Like, we're more than happy to support if you're like, well, but I just don't know. And then you just default to whatever is popular in your news feed. We can help you with some tools and some stuff to look at. But nutrition is also that really big, especially if you're like, well, okay, if I'm gonna have a 70 calorie burn workout, then that means I need to eat nothing, right? No, that's not it either. So let's talk about like nutritional balance and eating, being able to enjoy the cookie swaps, because that's, for me, I think it's really important when I travel or any time in life, I want to really enjoy where I'm at,
Yeah.
seasonally, experientially. And for me, I really love the treats and like the cookies that come around once a year at Christmas. I want to enjoy those things, but I want to enjoy them without guilt. And I want you to enjoy them without guilt too. And you have some really, really amazing tips. I heard you talk about the other day about this that I loved. I was like jotting notes. I'm like, these are so great.
So, okay, I'll give you the first one, which I think is the most important one. And you can use this as like your nutrition umbrella. Give your body what it needs first so that you can also give it what you want. And so the concept behind this is we focus on like what we want. So like, I want to have that cookie. This is like how I think a lot of people have been trained, especially at the holidays. I want to have that cookie. I want to eat my grandma's pie. My aunt makes the best sweet potatoes with marshmallows. Like, I'm going to have all these carbs and sugars and sweets. And so I'm not going to eat all day until that meal. And then that way I'm saving up my calories for that meal. Well, so many reasons that just made all of that actually more negative for your body, but also for your mind, than if you give your body what it needs first, then give it what it wants. And in nutrition school, when we were learning about this concept, we called it crowding out. And so the idea is not to take things away. It's not what should I not have. It's what should I have? What should I add in? So if you think about making sure that you get the right nutrients and that you're eating some vegetables, some plants, some good healthy protein, even good healthy fats and carbs first, give your body the tools, the nutrients, the minerals that it needs. It's going to prepare your digestive system to better process out and digest those sugars and those treats and those sweets. It's going to mean that your liver is healing every day and it's more prepared to flush out those toxins that might be in the preservatives, the food dyes, the sugars and things like that are in your treats that you're having. So you can't expect your body to be able, we're designed intelligently. Your body should be able to handle some treats at the holidays. Like, it's not a big deal. And the only way it becomes a big deal is if our bodies aren't being cared for in a way where they have the tools and the resources that they need to do their job. So just focus on, like, don't skip breakfast so that your blood sugar is going to be spiked as soon as you put those cookies in, right? No, eat a fiber-filled breakfast with protein and healthy fats. You're going to have less of a blood sugar spike. You're going to have all those plants activating the good bacteria in your gut so that you can break your good food down and absorb the nutrients, but you still have bowel movements so you can process out any chemicals, preservatives, food dyes that were in the fun treats. And you're not going to be as hungry. So, instead of being famished when you go into things and being so excited and just like eating them as fast as you can because you're starving, you'll eat less naturally. It won't be a point of deprivation. It'll just be like, oh, I'm full. So really give your body what it needs first. And then when you give it what it wants, it won't be such a big deal.
I love that. I think also like knowing that our bodies, like, I love that you mentioned that, like, our bodies are smart. They know they're designed to work optimally. And sometimes though, our bodies are not already working optimally. So some preventative stuff can be really powerful. Like, right, those daily habits, those daily routines or supplements, like we already kind of mentioned, like, morning supplement, morning hydration and detox drink, like that for me has become my foundational piece to the day. So that because I know, like, and one of the things I've been working with my functional medicine doctor is like that my nervous system has had a lot of trauma, my gut, which has thrown like my gut health off, which has thrown my hormone health off. Like, it's all interconnected, right? And I've been in this, like, a lot of us, this really sympathetic nervous system triggered fight or flight place, right? For a long time, it's stolen from hormones in other parts of our body just to keep ourselves safe. And so I'm already coming at like a deficit, and I know that. And like, I have like been working really hard for the last year to feel good again. And it if you're like, why don't I feel good anymore? I'm not sleeping well. I'm waking up in the middle of the night. I wake up tired. Having a hard time focusing. I'm having a hard time with brain fog, weight gain. Like, there's so many symptoms of it. But what feeling good, hopefully, what feeling good feels like. Not all of us, because sometimes we just have been unwell for so long, we almost forget what, anyway, I digress. But like doing some of that support work, because it won't be that our body just will all of us, we're not all coming at the same starting point. Our bodies aren't all, our livers aren't all working optimally. Our gut health is not, our biome is not all optimal, right? And so what
Yeah.
are some of the things that we can do to really like support that those detox processes and be able to absorb the right nutrients, things like that? What are your thoughts there?
I'll give you like three, hopefully, sort of short tips. Number one, I always teach my clients, and this is something I practice myself, start your day with fiber first. And if you can transition that to like a few forkfuls of fiber before every meal. So when you get that fiber in first, it minimizes your blood sugar response. It flattens your glucose curve from the rest of the food that you eat. And all these scientific studies have shown that if you start your day with fiber and those savory foods like fiber, good, healthy protein, and healthy fats, you will actually have a lower blood sugar spike throughout the day, even from your dinner, from starting your day with fiber first. So just think like fiber, few forkfuls of fiber. You can roast a tray of veggies. You can have a big salad prepped in the fridge. You could literally just take some celery out if that's what you have time for, that's quick and easy, but get some fiber in first to help stabilize your blood sugar. When I'm going to like holiday parties and things like that, or traveling, and I don't know if I'm going to have access to vegetables, access to fiber, like number one, you could bring something to share, eat something before you go. But a really easy hack is to do a shot of apple cider vinegar before you have like a really heavy starchy meal, or like travel food, or like that cookie swap.
What does that do for us?
The apple cider vinegar actually does sort of what fiber does. It's like a scientific process, but it's basically going to minimize the blood sugar response. So I do 1 shot of apple cider vinegar with 2 tablespoons of just like sparkling water. It makes it go down easier. And just do that, like I'll do it before I leave the house to go to the party or whatever it is. And then you say I eat a bunch of cookies when I get there. Well, instead of it's totally spiking my blood sugar, it's going to flatten the curve a little bit. It's going to improve that glucose response. So that's something you can use like traveling or going to big events. And then because you mentioned the stress and like our nervous system and trauma, which I've had a lot of trauma as well, I want to mention that when our body activates its stress response, it eats up magnesium. Magnesium is a really important mineral that our bodies need for like hundreds and hundreds of processes every single day. But because most of us have such stressful lifestyles, and we've had years and years, even decades of chronic stress, and this is why we see it show up in our 40s as perimenopause symptoms and all of that, our magnesium levels are depleted. And the estimates in studies are that 80% or more of people are magnesium deficient. So for me, I love our morning supplement that we take for supporting our nutrition for a few reasons. It has magnesium. So, you get that support for that stress. It has potassium. Potassium actually helps pull water into your bowels and stimulate the little muscle contractions that help move waste out of your body. So if you're not pooping, you're not getting rid of toxins. And also, if it's sitting there and you're constipated, toxins from that are like kind of leaching back into your system as it molds and rots and ferments. So making sure you're having those bowel movements, plus it has pre and probiotics like we talked about. Not everyone's gut health is optimized, and you are what you absorb, not just what you eat. So those pre and probiotics help you absorb the minerals, and they also help to improve your gut health. And then it has glutathione, your master antioxidant. That helps so much with keeping toxins out of the gut, with cell turnover and renewal. It like actually attaches to toxins and helps them get expressed out with bile, like through the liver process and all of that. So, having some kind of simple routine that you can do every day that gives your body those minerals, liver support tools, and gut microbiome support tools. That's, supplements are supplemental. So Jamie and I have just talked about so many things that we can do in our lifestyle, but supplements can also give us that little edge, especially as we're getting started. And especially if you're coming at it from a deficit, like what you just explained, Jamie, they can be really helpful in those situations.
Yeah. Well, and I think our bodies are designed to want to feel optimal, but I'm never going to eat perfectly. I'll just own that. I'm never going to eat perfectly. I don't even try. Like, I don't even try. Like, it's not, I mean, I do try to eat well, but that is not my goal to eat perfectly every day, because I know I know it's on the table. I know what that will do for my mental health. I've been there where I've obsessed and I spiral around what I'm putting in my mouth. And also, like, I think, was it like, um, I don't even remember what the vegetable is, but basically, like, our produce that we're eating is nutrient deficient compared to like, where it was 10, 20, 30 years ago. And so just knowing that, like, we've got to even
We
the
got
scales ourselves a
to
little
fill
bit.
the gap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And knowing that it's nice to say, like, I'm doing all of the things to, like, manage my stress, to, like, give my body a fighting chance, and also just knowing it's a lot of times out of our control, especially during the holiday season when our schedules are out of control. Like, you get the cool school calendar and the family calendar and the work calendars and all of the things, and or just, you get that one text from a family member and you're like, eye starts twitching because you're like, I know where this is heading. And so just knowing too that, like, sometimes it's out of our control, and so the more we can give ourselves a leg up or a preventative measure. I love the idea of I want to bring the treats because I love baking, but I will always try to make sure I'm bringing veggies or some sort of a veggie tray or something fiber filled. I love making a roasted root vegetable tray. That's what I always bring to every dinner. But even stuff with like fruits are fiber, nuts, beans are fiber, like a really yummy bean salsa, right? Those are all going to be things that still are really
Yep.
delicious. And if you're like, I don't want to eat a bunch of broccoli before I eat my cookies, there are fiber comes in many forms. But I love that, and it's creating this, like, this base in your gut. So it kind of, like, I think you described it specifically, Calie, as like a mesh where, like, the other things are kind of like soaking through, and it's just going to slow down some of that metabolic process. Also, our night supplement we take, that for me has been probably even more helpful than, I mean, the AM has been amazing, I see magnesium has been amazing, but the night supplement too, I mean, that also has magnesium. It has L-theanine, has lemon balm, passion flower. Like, it has specific supplements in there designed to help for relaxation, for stress response, for quality of sleep. And it doesn't have melatonin, which for me, that can be actually a hormone disruptor and can be kind of counterproductive to our natural sleep
Melatonin
cycle.
actually keeps me awake. If I
Me
take
too.
I'm like,
Yeah.
but I think the other cool thing about the botanicals that are in that, when you're, taking the evening supplement, you don't want it to just be like, oh, this is going to help me fall asleep or this is going to help me stay asleep. Those are stress support supplements. So yes, it does help with the sleep, but I love that it's actually helping with stress management and nervous system regulation. Like, you're taking it and it's helping with that in general, not just for sleep. So
yeah, I think for me, I think of it as, like, because I'm a very good sleeper and I generally fall asleep, stay asleep, but it's kind of like all of these good things are happening, like chemical reactions are happening while I'm sleeping. Like, it's just, I feel like I'm like, oh, it's just like this rest and digest is literally happening for me while I'm sleeping that would have not been happening otherwise, like, and I wake up and find myself waking up feeling just over time, it's not like 3 days in, I'm feeling like better than ever. Like, our bodies take time to heal. But I find that I am much more prepared for the craziness of life as as entrepreneurs, as busy people with families and jobs and lives. Like, stress does not just, I used to think it was a badge of honor to be like, I work so hard, or I'm just busy. I think a lot of us used to, like, think of that as, like, that badge of success. And I don't live by that mindset anymore, but that doesn't mean life just slowed down. Like, it's still busy. I just value my peace and my nervous system health a lot more than I value someone thinking that I just work so hard.
I'll give kind of like a closing tip that piggybacks off of that. When we're sleeping, that's when our body's doing all its repair and restore. I always picture like these like little guys in there, like everything's getting tinkered with and it's getting rebuilt and repaired from the day. And like around 2 a.m. is when all the work's getting done on your skin, and then, like, let's say around 3 a.m. it's like your liver and your kidneys and all that are being restored. And so, like, while you're sleeping, your body's going through all these healing processes. But there's this really cool concept. So that, you know, we think about circadian rhythms. Most people are kind of familiar with that, but there's something called an ultradian rhythm, and it happens throughout the day in 90 to 120 minute intervals. So like every 90 to 120 minutes, your body's been going, and it needs a little bit of a break. It needs a minute to go like tinker, tinker, tinker. You know, I've been exposed to these toxins. I've had this stressful moment, you know, like I got stuck in traffic and I need to do some repair work so I can keep functioning optimally throughout the day. So it goes like this, and you're meant to take a little break, allow your body to do a little repair work. So then, you know, like you're doing the repair work, boop, you come all the way back up to your highest level. But what most of us do is we keep operating and we don't allow ourselves to have that break. So we come back to our highest level. So throughout the day, our energy, our productivity, our mental capacity, our patience, our irritability, all of that is slowly decreasing. And so, you know, a lot of times, like as your willpower decreases, you start making bad choices, you start, you know, lashing out, you start whatever, you start like reading the same sentence 100 times or taking, you know, 15 passes to try to write the same paragraph for work. And it's because your mental capacities are decreasing. So if every 90 to 120 minutes, the scientific ideal is to take a 20-minute repair break. And if you got into a habit of doing that, you would actually be more productive throughout the day. But most people can't start there. So give yourself like a 1 to 3 minute break every 90 to 120 minutes. And so I have a little timer set in my phone. It goes off every 120 minutes. I'll stop and do some deep breathing work. I'll get up and just go outside and stand in my backyard in the sunshine for a minute with, you know, like my water or a warm tea or whatever it is. Sometimes if I have a few more minutes, I'll take a couple laps around the block. Just separate myself from my work, from my stress. Like sometimes I'll lay down on the couch and set the timer for 5 minutes and take like a 5-minute power rest. And that just allows me to be more productive throughout the day, but it also allows my body to do little bits of repair, like 7, 8, 9 times a day. So you're shortening that gap of how you're depleting your body and how you're restoring your body. Because most of us just deplete and barely give time to restoration. So even during the holidays, if you can think about like every 120 minutes, you're just going to do some deep breath. You're going to close your eyes, like whatever it is. Even if for you, you have to start with every 3 to 5 hours, like find a way to integrate like a few minutes of recovery into your day. Recovery doesn't have to be an Epsom salt bath, a sauna, an hour and a half yin yoga class. Recovery can be 3 to 5 minutes of closing your eyes and just breathing.
Yeah. It can be your skincare routine. It can be, you know, it could be like anything that just is something that is nourishing, filling your cup. That's ideally not scrolling in Instagram. But
not filling your cup.
Yeah, no. Okay, this was great. I know we've had you guys on for like almost an hour. You are amazing, and this was so fun. If you are interested at all in learning more about any of this, or just being part of kind of the holiday fun, we're going to be talking more about some of these products we mentioned, or just help those holidays in general, kind of thriving in the holidays in general, for the fun kind of team event tomorrow night is it 8 p.m. East Coast time?
Yes.
Yeah, so 8 p.m. East Coast time, 5 p.m. West Coast time. You can do the math for Mountain and Central, but we'll put the link here too. Or if you just ever have any questions, you can reach out to either of us. But I'm going to save this video and cherish it because it has so many great, and add this to our client group too, because it's just so many great tips. And I just hope you heard the overriding message that like you deserve to like take care of you during this time, especially when I know you're pouring into everyone else. You got to pour into yourself. So here are some maybe ways you have never really thought of doing that before. So thanks, Calie. I love learning from you. Always.
Thanks. I love chatting with you. So look forward to your follow-up questions in the DMs, and hopefully we'll see some of you guys on our continuation of this chat tomorrow night.
Bye.